This week at Hey the Parents, we are talking about the day you have been saving and planning for. M-I-C-K-E, why you ask? Because we are doing a Disney primer to help you get some sense of it all. As you think about having a character meal with Mickey, scrolling around the world in Epcot, or getting that autographed book signed, we're off to Florida. Some might say Orlando Calrissian because maybe you've been dreaming about Hollywood Studios and seeing the Millennium Falcon and having some blue milk, or being with Blue Navi in the Animal Kingdom. We are going to discuss it all, from hopping on a direct flight that made the Disney run in under 12 parsecs to getting on your, what's the word for it, feet, and walking down Main Street to take a picture in front of the famous Disney castle. So won't you be our guest? Because on this episode of Hey the Parents, we'll help you make a small world after all. And of course, we talk about when we were younger, mishaps with our own kids, and what the supposed experts say. Because it's the three of us and all of you. I'm Michael Height.
I'm Sarah D.
And I'm Mike Levine.
Kids don't come with a handbook, so we need your help.
Where do babies come from?
Where do you think they come from?
Is this a kissing book?
Mama! Mama!
What?
Hi.
I learned it by watching you. There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We sent them to the best boarding schools. We hired the best nannies. We did everything right.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
No drinking, no drugs, no kissing, no tattoos, no piercings, no ritual animal slaughters of any kind.
Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
This is Hey Other Parents, an honest, messy, imperfect show for raising kids.
Hey, welcome back. It's us again.
Hello.
What up? What's going on, guys?
So we are so glad that you guys are here to hang out with us as we figure out this parenting thing. This week is going to be the beginning of a 2-episode combination deal where we decided that the weather out there, it's getting nice. I know a lot of you guys out there are thinking about vacations in this case. We are going to attempt to demystify the Disney thing. We're going to attempt to do it. Now we are, let me just double check. My mail for checks from any Disney Corporation. Nope, nothing there. So we have not, this is not endorsed. This is not anything like that. We are speaking completely from our own experiences. Sarah hasn't been to Disney in a number of years. Mike goes fairly regularly. I went when I was a kid, but then I went with my family over the summer last summer. So it's fresh, man. It's fresh. I still got the Mickey sweetness and fairy dust is still flowing through my veins. So we got.
I would say
Tinkerbell's still like sprinkling, and I feel like every so often a couple steps and there's like a little bit like extra gravity or less gravity. It's pretty amazing. So I'm excited. So think of this episode as one where we're assuming that maybe this is the first time you're going with your kids. Maybe this is the end all be all trip, i.e. do it once and they better remember it. Or maybe not. But either way, I think we can share some of our experiences and maybe give you a little bit of comfort. We are not being endorsed, like I said, or paid by anyone. So all this information provided to you today is from our experiences, because it generally feels like these are choices that we made that made sense for us. They may not make sense for everyone, but you'll hear it and you'll be like, that guy is telling me everything I don't want to do, so that's okay. Now I know what I want to do. This is going to be a 2-part episode, like I said. So think of this one specifically as like a survival guide. We're going to give you some insight into what you could expect. We're going to be discussing tips, tricks for the family, staying on Disney property or off Disney property. We don't care. How the phone app works, which is super important. We're going to get into that. Strategies, seriously. Strategies for getting on the rides that you want. How the food works generally without falling apart after day one. Next episode, we're going to do like a part 2 where we focus on like more of the specifics, like some of the rides, some of the food that we loved, things that work for our family, things that we like definitely didn't. And we're going to be helping out Sarah D and other people that are like her who haven't gone and like with their family yet or haven't gone a number of years. Like I said before, Mike Levine's gone a bunch of times. I went last summer, so I'm still like, geeking out from it. But if this is the first time you're joining us on this podcast, Hey the Parents, it is a chance for a few of us parents who decide that we need to join our efforts together to try and get through this, as we call it, a survival course. And in this case, it might be a very hot survival course. We decided to do this podcast where we pick a different theme or topic every week. We discuss it from the standpoint when we were younger, when we grew up with our own parents, and when we shift on over to adulthood, when we do not have a handbook and we have our own kids. What do we go through? We share some of our experiences and we learn from each other. And then sometimes we'll hear a little bit from the experts. And every week we feel a little bit better because we have each other and we have all of you. So if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, we'll tell you a little bit later in the podcast and how you can get in touch with us. And without further ado, it is time to get into the main part of the podcast. And that entails being our guest. So here we go. It is time. So we're buckling in. We're not even going to go for when we were younger this time around. We're going straight in because we have so many things to talk about where we don't want to rush it. And we even recognize that this is going to be a 2-part episode. So we're going to sort of take our time, but we're going to jump around a little bit. So we're going to go like, here's a topic. We'll talk about it and we'll make our way through it. If we leave anything out, we'll probably get to it on the next episode. So don't you worry. Things like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride that scared me the bejeebers out of me when I was younger, not even at Disney anymore. So we're already in a good spot. All right. So we're going to start out here where we decided that perhaps we are going to do like a zooming out a little bit. So overall impressions, let's just start from there. Mike Levine, the man, the myth, the legend, the Voyager to Orlando. What is your general overarching feeling as we zoom out about Disney?
Let me tell you right now, for all you listeners out there, get your shorts, get your sneakers, get your gym mode on, because you are gonna be training. Let me tell you, man. Get those fists pumping. You are in for walking, and you're going to be doing miles. And I think I actually shared a video with Mike before he went on his trip to Disney. I sent him this training dad video because, dude, you have to like have all these motions and all these moves ready, because you are going to be picking up your kids. You're going to be doing the 2-kid huddle. You're going to be doing all these different moves that I don't even know what they're called, but you find a way to do it, because that's what Disney is. It's a trip for your kids and not for
That was a
you.
mantra. That was a mantra I was looking for. It's not a vacation for you. It's for your kids.
Yeah.
You're like practicing like, okay, separate the fight. Here's a nice pop.
Yeah.
Separate the kids. Here's a nice pop. Here's a towel.
Yes.
Here's the water.
Yes. And then on top of all of that, you're dealing with the crazy weather and the hotness of being in Florida, but it's great. It's all part of the experience.
I was hoping you would say the experience. So Sarah D, what is your, we're going to zoom out. What's your opinion of the Disney situation?
Oh, the Disney situation. So, okay, my daughter has gone twice. One with the aunties, like a girl trip, and another time as a cheerleader for competition. So we have not gone as a family, and Julian is super jealous about it. And I feel this. I have to bring him there. Like, I want him to enjoy it. I've never been to Disney as a child, so I want to bring him there now when he's still young and wants to like experience stuff. So but it feels so intimidating, because the way everyone talks about it is like all this planning. And as much as Mike likes to give me a credit that I look like I have it together, sometimes it's a
Don't
hot
tell
mess
people. I
under
tell you,
all the post-it
they don't
notes.
know. I'm trying so hard to cover it.
I thought that was the hot mess. I thought that was the hot mess.
Oh man,
I try, man. I am so trying. But so when I hear it, I'm like, oh my God, and I think as much as Gene is so organized, I think this is a big, like, this is not like Gene does it and I just go happily on a plane and to wherever else we go. This is something that's gonna require like a double tag team idea to make sure we're gonna hit all the good spots and get all the good foods and make it a good experience for everyone. Especially now that my daughter is a seasoned veteran of the Disney World stuff, so trying to impress her and make sure it's a good experience for Julian. So that's my opinion about Disney right now. It's
I love it.
You're scary, but you also look a lot of fun too. So I want to be there, gonna get something to try, something yummy and delicious.
No, I love it. I love it.
Oh yeah.
All right. So my opinion real fast, I feel like initially when we were going to go last summer, I feel like I was almost maybe like the apprehensive one of the trip, because like part of me was going through this like feeling like it almost felt like everyone that we talked to that went to Disney, it almost seemed like they knew things so much better than we did, where we felt we were going to show up and just be like, what is going on? What kind of mistakes do we make? What are we doing here? And then like part of me too is like, I'm the kind of person that in other circumstances, I'm like, I feel like I look at my kids and I'm looking at the situation, and sometimes like, even if we go somewhere, like if they're like falling apart, I'm like, you know what? 3 o'clock, I'm okay with leaving. Like, I don't need to see everything. So like, this is not, I know, but like, I was apprehensive. I didn't necessarily feel like, the way this is going to feel like. And then I also saw like videos and stuff. And like, sometimes the videos would make me feel more anxious, because like, it was like, oh,
Like the ones I
No,
sent
no,
you?
no,
I'm
not at all.
sorry.
Seriously, no. Trust me, in the grand scheme of things, I thought they were good because what was happening is we were getting closer and closer to go. My wife was like, watch the videos, make a list with kids, and then like that was making my stomach like tighten. I was getting very nervously like with like how are we gonna do this? And then like we just kind of like got there, and then all of the things that weren't the plan and like weren't all of that stress, like once it started to make some more sense, which I think was what this episode was all about, I think like we really started to really enjoy it. And I think the first moment that we saw our kids like see a Disney character walking around, like, whoa, it was like, and then we're driving, you see like the arch of like the welcome entrances and the palm trees, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, I'm home, and then like all of a sudden like you're now like 6 years old again. Yeah, 100%. So all right, why don't we get into this? I'm very excited for this. So why don't we start out with a couple quick things, like maybe like some cost stuff that maybe people might be nervous about. Like I don't really know necessarily where we're gonna get like the best deals. Like we went through kind of a Disney person, but something that we did kind of made sense to us was that because we have some friends that ended up going the same time as us from Taekwondo, and it was very funny because we saw them like at the pool and stuff. But they've gone a couple times now, and each time they've kind of like stayed like a little bit longer. And we're looking like, how are you doing this? And what they explained to us is that like if you go for like one day is the most expensive it's going to be. So if you end up like buying multiple day tickets, it doesn't have to be consecutive, but like if you buy like multiple day tickets, what happens is the cost per day will decrease. So like, I don't know when that number becomes amazing, but like after like day 5 or day 6 or whatever it is,
that's how they get you.
They do. But like, just keep in mind, like that doesn't work with Universal because Universal's like a separate park. So we're not even going to talk about Universal on this podcast really, just because it's too confusing. Like if you want to go to Universal, you have to like hop in an Uber, you got to go there, and it's like Harry Potter and stuff, but that's more involved. I don't think I could speak too well to that because our experience was kind of crazy. But I will say it was cool. If you want to go there for a day, great. But it's not going to decrease the cost on the Disney stuff because this podcast is specifically about Disney. So that's what we're going to be talking about. But I'll say like maybe like for us, we thought of it as like maybe if we just went bam, 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 like multiple days, like it would be too much for us. So we kind of included a couple of days off because we needed that. But like that was kind of helpful, because it was like if we said to ourselves, like, I could only imagine my kids' feet after 2-3 days of Disney, they're going to be in a terrible mood. So we tried to like have like maybe like 2 days in the park, a day off, a day back, in the back of the park. And that kind of helped us.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many days did you actually stay?
So we ended up like, in Florida. Yeah. So we were in Florida. We ended up visiting my grandmother before we got to the parks, but I think we were maybe there for 6 days, maybe it was, because we did 4 park days. And then we had like a couple off days, and that kind of helped us out.
Okay,
and to speak to that, Sarah, like when you book vacations, it's got to be at least 4+ days. You need a lot of days to hit what you want in the parks, like all the rides, all the waiting on lines. That's a good point because like if you're going to Disney, it's definitely at least a week. You know what I mean? Or close to it, if you want to make sure you hit everything.
Mike, did you like we did a thing where we didn't go to all the parks because we were nervous that like because I haven't gone with my family yet, so we thought like what we should do is like have 2 days at the same park. So we ended up doing like 2 Magic Kingdom days. And then we had an Epcot day and a Hollywood Studios day, and there was a a Universal day. We're not going to get into that, but we ended up having 2 days at Magic Kingdom instead of like a day at Animal Kingdom. But it made us happier because we felt like we were too nervous that we were going to miss something, and then like and then we just didn't want to cram everything in. We felt like that would be like, for us at least, we felt that was good. And I think we were happy that we did that, but I don't know if that was totally intentional originally. But that was kind of how we did it.
Yeah, it's just if you're going to Disney, you got to create a plan on like all the parks that you want to hit. You don't have to hit every other park. It all depends on like you and what your experience, what you want your experience to be like. I definitely had to hit the Galaxy's Edge and all these other places with
Wait, you like Star Wars?
Yeah, exactly, which is Star Wars for those who don't know. And you definitely need a few days. You need to create a plan and just make sure you hit everything you want to hit because it's a lot.
Can we maybe it would make sense to just shift that over? Just with that said, maybe we should talk a little bit like what the experience would look like maybe if you stay at a resort and like how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like we stayed at Pop Century and we've stayed at Art of Animation. Those are resorts within Disney, and what's great about them is like they have the buses, the shuttles that transfer you from the resort to the actual location or the park that you want, and it's just scary though. The only thing that was scary for me is when you're traveling with young kids and you're bringing like a stroller and stuff. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure you figure out a fast way to get that stroller on that bus, because all those people are behind you. They want to get on that bus and they don't want to wait for you. And you want a place to, to fit on that bus. So,
and don't forget the air ride too, right? Oh, Sarah.
Yes.
Is there a place like when you bring the stroller, is there a place to put the stroller on these like buses or like?
Nope.
No. Dude,
no.
okay.
So one lucky adult
really
has to
Oh
so you have to so picture this, like you get in the buses, they're these huge buses that almost have to back up for 2 seconds. Mike and I had similar experiences. We both stayed at these resorts that were like more of like the cheaper end of the resorts. When you stay at these quote unquote cheaper end of the resorts, you're not in walking distance to the parks. So you have to take a bus or a sky thing, whatever else. But so like either so for the bus, what happens is basically like there's not like assigned seating, whatever it is, like first come, first serve, you go in the family. And then there's like the big front side where there's like almost like a city bus, like buses on one, like seats on one side, seats on the other side. There's a big step in the back if you want a challenge. And then there's like those poles to hold on to, or like the top part, like you're in a subway. So like if you're the lucky parent that has to fold the stroller up, or in theory they're supposed to flip closed. That worked once without throwing my back, and then and then you get the lucky situation of like trying to hold onto the folded stroller and hope that everything was unloaded from the stroller, isn't leaking over the floor, and that at the same time that you're holding on to the rail so you don't fall off. So I'm not fall off the bus, to fall down. So just in case you wanted a challenge before you got there.
I basically called myself the dad donkey. Like I had backpacks on my stomach. I had backpacks on my back. I had strollers in my arms. I had a baby on my left hand side. Like you are the dad donkey,
Do you have any idea how much effort it's taking me not to go into AI right now and immediately start working on dad donkey?
Right. Okay. So I'm hearing you gotta train like physically, and I'm hearing you gotta learn how to like flip with one hand.
Yeah.
The stroller. Like, okay.
No, but let me just say though, real fast, is that like I know we're like complaining and we're saying all these things, yes, and rightfully so, but like the strollers, and this sounds bizarre because like I assume when I think of strollers, I think of like 3 or 4 year olds tops, right? But in Disney, like the kids get so tired. Like their strollers they have in the parks, we didn't use those. We rented from a company that delivered it like to where we were staying, which was really great for us. But like those are like they're made for bigger kids. Like the ones that we rented was a double stroller that like Ethan could fit into, which is my middle guy. He was 8 at the time, and then Noah could fit too. So like Jacob was like, he's big, he's not gonna fit in there. He's but like those two, like holy moly, it was beneficial to have a double stroller. But there was like a double wide stroller, not the front back. So you could only imagine, but. So anyway, long story short.
Ask, like, why don't they make strollers for parents? I think they would make a lot of money for that.
Oh my god.
Well, they do, but it's we're not gonna go there.
Right. Okay. But okay. So like, I mean, they should like. I know I used to have a stroller that had like a stand-up option. Like they don't make a stand-up option. Like you're like a 12-year-old. Like you have some.
Oh, with the little back part. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I will say, like, those are
okay.
beneficial because because like a stroller, as parents know, like. What is a royal pain, right? You have like your bags and everything else. Like there is something absolutely so nice about having a place to just store stuff. And like when we were there, like because there was stroller parking. So like when you would get on a ride, you'd have to like in any general part of Disney, like wherever there's like 2 or 3 rides, there's always like a section where you could park the stroller. And like for us, that was great because like you'd had like bags and waters and God knows everything else. Then you could just like dump that stuff down, grab the small stuff you need, go on the ride, and then regroup and get the kids back in the stroller with their fans, and then go to the next section.
Oh man, I'm just googling images right now of these like strollers.
Don't look. It's bad. Don't even go.
No, I think I could fit into one. I like this. Gene can push me around.
You know what the best thing though? The best thing about having young kids and going with that stroller is that stroller becomes like the car to hold everything,
Yes.
Because let me tell you, when you go to Disney, you have a budget and you think you're going to spend a certain amount of money. And then it's very hard to stick to that budget because of all the little things that the kids see as they're going through the park, It's just crazy, You know?
Now, question: is there a place to like park these strollers? Because like I'm going like on a ride with the family. My family's like 9 or whatever, so like of 9 years old, and he's in a stroller. What like where am I parking this stuff?
They're close. There's like every section that like picture Disney as like a place where like multiple entrances to rides are within like 50 feet of each other. So there's always like a part, like it's like the Bronx Zoo, not there, but the Bronx Zoo. There's always like a part, an area, quote unquote, like Tomorrowland or whatever it is. Like once you're in an area, that area has a theme or whatever it is, and then you have in front of you like at least 4 or 5 rides, characters you can meet, food that it's in a section. So like when you look at little maps, whatever else, you're gonna see that there's a place to park. But when speaking of like getting there with the rides and stuff, with the strollers, I think maybe let's just real fast, if it's cool with you guys, maybe we'll just talk a little bit about the resort and maybe the benefits of that, because we love the idea of not having to deal with a car. Like we had the car, we visited my grandmother, we got back to Disney, and then like I basically went to the airport, dropped the I didn't. I think I dropped to like one of the Disney centers. It was like a quote unquote Disney drop off with the car company, and then the bus drove me back to the resort. It was great, and then I can't describe to you how freeing. Like my shoulders relaxed, everything was less tense. We got rid of the car, and it was like yes, we could do this because maybe it's more expensive, but for us, like it's a choice. You do what you want, but for us, not having to pay for the car and the car rental for those days, maybe that evened out in some way. Maybe probably didn't, but it made it more appealing to be the resort because we didn't have to put up with the car, because like we could take on that air ride, like that little cool like air thing that basically worked the entire time. Where those connected us to 3, I think, of the 4 parks or 2 of the 3 parks. It was very easy to use. And then that was like, you could walk, like that was actually, there was like a drop off as part of the hotel. So like you just walked to like one section of art of animation or pop center where you're saying, and then there was like the little part where you just jump on. Even more a little stressful was when you had the stroller and the thing kept moving and you had to like fold it and jump in. But it was like, so like I feel like that was the first ride at Disney. It was like Indiana Jones. But that was like, but that was really helpful because then like at the hotel you had the benefit of like getting access to the parks without having to drive yourself. You were like dropped off like right where you get in, and then you also got like they give you early access. We didn't realize that, so we were able to get in. Like they let you go inside the park a half an hour before everybody else. So that's really cool. Like the rides don't open early, but you think of it as being a half an hour in front of everybody else when you have to go to the rides, which gets you like online for like one of the premium rides without having to like stress about it. So maybe you have a little bit of a wait, but you would have a much longer wait if you didn't have that opportunity. And then the other thing that's really nice about it is it's just like the comfort of just like, you're done with the park, you hop in the lair ride, you go back to the hotel, and you're there. And then it's not like a big drive home or anything. We didn't do this, but if you buy stuff, like you could have the option, because if we bought something, the kids want to hold on to it, but you have the option of buying something, and then they'll deliver it to your hotel room, so you don't have to carry it around all day, which is nuts.
Yes, and you know what else is good too with the resorts is like, you know, they have like little mini fridges inside, and like you could order stuff from like let's say Walmart or BJ's, and they can that we ordered from BJ's. We got like a bunch of little breakfast items, and you know, like Danishes, bagels, bananas, and we ordered it straight. It goes straight to the hotel, and they keep it in like a little freezer area, like a little like refrigerator area, like a kitchen. And then when you're at the park or whatever, you can come pick it up and bring it up to your hotel room, and you know, that way you kind of save a little money on breakfast and stuff, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Because you don't have like overpriced and ridiculous it would be to buy like any sort of breakfast. So that you're saving a chunk of money right there by having like bagels or little peanut butter jelly sandwiches or Crustables. Crustables or Crustables? Yeah. Do they put the crust on or do they take the crust off?
Are you using like a DoorDash to do that? Or are you like, how's that all to BJ's, Walmart? How'd you guys
Walmart had a delivery person, I think it was like when you paid over a certain, you had to have an order that was over a certain amount of money. I don't remember what it was, but it's like, let's just hypothetically say it was 35. That makes me think of Target. When it was over a certain amount of money, I think the delivery was either like a set amount or it was free. Maybe BJ's just like a set amount. Is it like $10, whatever is for delivery? It's something like that, right? Like it's not a
BJ's was a set amount. But you know what's also weird is I don't think they really like advertise that you could do it, but you can. You know, so like I think it's really good for our listeners to know, like, hey, you can order and get it delivered to your hotel.
I don't think
and
it was
they'll
a
hold
third
for you.
party. Like I don't think it was like an Uber Eats or that kind of
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Or DoorDash.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do
Okay,
that.
good to know.
Because like we ordered pizza one night at the hotel, like from outside. We wanted to get, this is so random. There's a Chicago pizza place, Giordano's. They have it in Orlando, so we ordered it. My eyes were obviously bigger than my stomach, like usual. Where we ordered like a large Chicago pie, and then we ended up giving half of it to the staff that worked at the hotel because we were like, we can't finish this. So, but yeah, there's a lot of options available, and that helps too. It means it makes the cost. You know, I like Mike's idea of the BJ's. It's pretty smart.
Yeah,
It was. Gotta save somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the other thing too. Like my kids are not breakfast people, you know, and it stinks because like I'm a breakfast person. I'd love to go down, get a breakfast, have a coffee, get ready to go to the park. So that way, like I'm not hungry, and you're burning all those calories walking in the park. So like you're gonna get hungry quick. You know, and of course I'm fine, but all my other kids are like, I want a popcorn or I want a ice cream or something, you know.
You know, one of the benefits too of staying at the resort is one of the best deals in I think Orlando. Is their cup. So like if you can't bring it into Disney Park, but when you're if you decide to stay at a resort, like there's 5 of us, and in Art of Animation, some other ones, they have rooms that are big enough for 5. So like in some of the hotels, they can't accommodate that number, so you have to just kind of look whatever. But if it fit us, we didn't have to pay for like 2 rooms, which would have been insane. But these cups, when you get one, they're good for like 16 days, whatever it is, and you can refill them every 30 seconds. So like I would go in the morning, I would gulp down 2 unsweetened iced teas, and I would grab my kids bagels, drink my Diet Coke, I'm like, I'm good to go. And then it would be like, all right, cool. Then the cup would go away because I bring it back when I get out later, and it was great. But one of the things that I think we should probably spend just like maybe a couple minutes talking about is how everything is based around these crazy magic bands and this app. Because as a person visiting Disney, everything seems to be around this app. Like your ticket goes into the app. You order food, it's on the app. The booking rides, if you choose to do it, which we're going to talk about now. One of the things that you get as a perk of staying inside the park, besides going early, is if you decide to, and for us it was worth it, because we knew that this was like our big vacation for the kids. We didn't know if we're coming back, and we wanted to do it right. Whatever that means, do it right for us. So we ended up doing this thing that is an additional part of the app. Now, to be 100% clear, of the things that you do with the app, whether you are going to Disney and not paying for extra stuff, you still need to use the app, because the app shows you important things like all of the wait times at different parks. If you want to meet a character, how long maybe you might wait. Maybe if a ride is temporarily shut down, or like a really cool thing is like you could order food from like one of these quick places that you would walk up and pay for, and you could like choose a time you want to pick it up. So like you could do that all on an app, which is super helpful. Maps and all this other nonsense. Now, here's the part where like if you want to pay a little bit more, we did, and it was worth it to us. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be worth it to you, but this thing called Genie Plus. Just like Disney Plus, I guess. I don't know. So Genie Plus is this thing where it's an additional functionality of the app that it wouldn't be there if you didn't pay for it. So each day you would have to pay for it, and it goes somewhere between $20 and $25. It depends on the season and how busy the park is, blah, 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 whatever. So, okay. So the way this works is, in general, every 2 hours, you could basically book a ride. It doesn't mean that you walk up to that ride and you walk right on the ride, but it means that when you get to every single ride, there's 2 different signs that is like just basically the regular wait, and then there's a lightning lane. So a lightning lane is the same thing as Genie Plus. So like when you book a ride, you walk up to that ride within the hour that you book it for. So whatever the start time is for another hour, you could go there, and then it's a very short ride compared to what it could be if you weren't. So like a ride like that might be an hour and a half wait. For you, it might be like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. It's much better. So that's kind of what it means to like quote unquote book a ride. But the way that it works is that once you usually around the 2 hour mark. So once you get on the ride and you're done with the ride, then you look at your phone and you might have availability to book another ride. If you book a ride that's like later in the day, like past that 2 hour mark, what'll happen is like within 2 hours, another opportunity to book a ride will show up on your phone. So like if it's like, you know, whatever you booked for, something that you attended something maybe in the morning and you couldn't get what you wanted, and you booked something in the afternoon, at some point in the morning you would have an opportunity to book another ride. So it's not like you wasted it, because there's more rides that'll show up. Yeah. But like the thing that's really cool about it is that if you stay at any of the quote unquote Disney properties, everyone else that doesn't stay at the property, that just goes to visit the park, I know this is kind of annoying what I'm about to tell you, because like you're still spending a lot of money and everything else, but if you stay at the resort, you get a benefit. They have to wait until 9 a.m. before their first time they're able to use the app and book something. Whereas if you stay at any of the Disney resorts, you can start that process at 7 a.m. So it doesn't mean that you're going to go on a ride at 7:30. The park's not even open yet. But what it does mean is that like at 7, you could have the opportunity to book something where no one else except the people that are staying there are looking for a ride to book. So like sometimes that can mean getting a very early ride where people probably wouldn't even have that opportunity until because like they it's almost like think of it like selling out for a slot in a sense. So like you get that slot, you're really happy. So what we found, this is really fast because I don't want to get into like a whole bunch of stuff. We're gonna talk about the parks and the rides and stuff next week. But one super duper strategy that we figured out, because day one we were just like, oh my god, this is stressful. We screwed it all up. But the second day, what we figured out was if we get to the park and we get inside like the very beginning, like when we're first allowed to get in, which you should definitely do like once at least, because when they open up the park, they have a whole like to do and they get all funny and they talk to you, they cut the ribbon basically. So you get inside. What you do is while you've booked already like a very hard to get on ride, like one of the ones that matter to you. We're gonna talk about it next week, but like you'll have like your top 5 list, whatever it is. You book it to one of the other rides that you want to get on without a reservation. You just get you get a stroller, you just push the stroller, you weave it in and out, you go like NASCAR,
make that beeline.
you go for it, and you get to that ride. Now it doesn't matter.
All that training.
Yes, it doesn't matter now if there's 30 people ahead of you, because there probably would be 250 people ahead of you if not. So now you've gotten like to a ride that you have just secured. You've got to the spot that you want to get to. So you get somewhere that like a ride that's hard to get on, and like you don't have a reservation for that ride, but you don't have a lot of people in front of you. You also booked your first ride at 7 a.m. So now sometime around like, I don't know, like 10 o'clock or 10:30, you have a ride already booked. So now you have just patted yourself in the back, because you should, listener, because at that point you have now gotten like 2 of those, like, let's just make up a number, like 5 rides that you really wanted to get in on. So now you're like, all right, we're off to a really good start here, and then that's kind of an important thing, right? Mike, does that kind of like does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, when you are staying on the resort, that's part of those perks that you get there. Getting into the park an extra 2 hours earlier, or being able to like look at the app 2 hours earlier. Well, everybody can look at it, but I'm just saying, like, having those 2 hours is beneficial because you need to maximize your time when you go to Disney World. And that's why when we said before, having a plan, planning out where you want to go, what parks you want to go, how you want to do it, maximizing your time, it all revolves around this app, and you gotta do your research.
Yes, and the thing is about like the park is that like when you have like an off day at the if you're staying at a resort, you have the benefit where like you could like have a pool day. You could hang out at the pool. You could save money, and you can also like you can maybe have a meal there. And then maybe like for us, like it would have been very expensive to like order food like at the park and at the resort and like pay for like an individual meal for everybody, like a burger for you, whatever. So what we did was we would just decide like, you know what, we're ordering a whole pizza from the place that, their restaurant, whatever. And it wasn't that bad, honestly. So we did the pizza thing, and then we basically like that saved us a ton of money. And like, was it cheap? No, it wasn't cheap, but it was way cheaper than it would have been if we had not done that. Yeah. So that worked out for us, like little things like that. And then like, they got tables, they got like towels, they got in the night, they have like a thing where they put a movie on as soon as the sun starts to go down. They put like a big movie on like poolside. So the kids love it. They're like swimming around. It's like as a New Yorker, when you go into a pool and like you have to like dip your toe in the water and you're like, it's a summer, but this is ridiculously cold. It's for a northerner visiting Florida, you just walk right in, baby, and it is comfortable and warm and awesome. So,
and you just brought back great memories, my friend, when going through those resorts and then coming back to the hotel, and I believe there was one time where I just like face planted into the water because like I just needed that water to rush over me, and that pool is so cool, and you're just like, you're so hot and you're so defeated from like doing all that training in the in the parks, when you go into that pool, oh, it's so great. That's what's great about those resorts. And then, you know, it's tough because sometimes you want to come back and maybe kind of refresh. So you're like, oh, let me go in the pool and kind of refresh and then get back out there and do another round of a park. But that could be dangerous. I'm telling you right now.
I don't trust myself with that.
Dangerous.
That's so dangerous. No, I think we would be like, all right, let's call it a night.
Yeah,
Let's go sleep.
exactly. So just be careful if you plan on doing that, because I mean, we did it once, and then we tried to do it again, and it didn't happen. We were like, nah, we're just staying here at the resort.
No, see, I like the idea though, because beforehand we had talked about this possibly happening. So like, I like the idea that you guys stayed for like a long stay in Florida, but then like had 2 days at the parks, or maybe like every other day at the park or something like that. So it's like, it's not so overwhelming, because if we did like 6 days and 10 Disney, I feel like G and I definitely would be like, let's just stay here in the pool. It's so nice. You know?
Yeah, I feel like we missed out. Like, I feel like almost like, as a parent, like, it felt almost like my kids weren't really enjoying the vacation without having like one pool day. Like, they needed that. Like, I just think like as a family, like we don't get that time together to like be together and just like be silly and just like swim around and hang out and just talk.
Yeah.
So like, it was nice just to,
I
we know
love
we
that.
wanted like one day, at least one day of that, you know, whether there was, I mean, there was some fighting, of course, with, you know, of course, but we needed to have a day of that, you know, you need to have a day where you go to your hotel room with a towel around you dripping like that, you know, freezing cold. That's part of the process, you know?
Yeah.
One of the things.
I was gonna say, like when you were in the pool, did a lot of your kids like start playing with other kids around?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, Ethan made best friends everywhere. It was great. Something that I just wanted to bring up because I remembered it. You know, you guys, we were talking. I remember stuff out of the blue. The person that we used to like book everything was like a Disney person, or whatever. And she had said like, because her kids are older, like maybe like her kids were at least like Sophia's age, so like no one was younger than that. So they were like in a different situation. So she was like, with my kids, what they did is, and this like blew my mind because I was like, wait, you do what? Keeping in mind she's a travel agent, so she probably goes way more than you know most people. But she said that like they would get up in the morning at like 7 a.m. whatever it was, or she'd get up, she'd buy the Disney Genie Plus, whatever was available. Like maybe that was like the day of the you know, in the middle of the night, whatever it was. And then they wouldn't go to the park until 10:30, 11. And I'm like, wow, why would you do that? But I guess the reasoning was that like, because their kids are older, they want to sleep in a little bit. They want to kind of like take their time, whatever. To me, I would be panicking. Like, we got to get to the park. And then like the first Disney Plus, the first Genie Plus park, the first Genie Plus ride that they were able to book, that indicates them when they were going to get there. And then that was just the flow they wanted. They wanted a little bit more laid back. They wanted to hang out. They wanted to go on certain rides.
Oh, I like that.
Because they would like go at like 10:30. You know, and that works, right?
Yeah.
And then their mentality was like, when everyone was starting to like lose their cool and kids were starting to yell at everybody and parents were crying, then that's when they would really hit more of the rides. So like I know between 4 and 7, that's when they would really hit a lot more rides where people maybe start to lose their steam a little bit. But you know,
that makes sense, to be honest with you, because like I have Julian, who's 10, who's like a preteen, and he sleeps in like a little bit more than probably maybe like your child who's like around 9 or 10. And then like Sophia, she's definitely a full on teenager. And if I made her wake up at 7 a.m. to start getting ready for the park, she might like blow gaskets. So like that sounds more like my speed right there, you know?
Right. And then like what do you call it? Then like you good.
Yeah, I think when you have those younger kids, you know, in the beginning, it's like you kind of just want them to experience and see everything. And it's kind of cool too, because even though it's more of a vacation for your kids, right? It's cool as a parent seeing your kids light up and kind of witnessing everything. I remember when I took Lucas, Elliot, Hayden, and Lucas for his first time. Actually, he would always say, "What's that? What's that? What's that?" you know. So it's just, you know, I guess depending on the age of your children, you know, you guys can kind of dictate when and where you go and what parks and what times and things like that. You know,
he's like Jack Skellington. I love it. Sorry, I don't know. What's this? So one of the things I also want to mention too is like, because like I'm not at this point now, like there was a little bit of this with Jacob, but my kids are kind of young, but Sophia is older. And like, you know, obviously that's different. So there's these things called magic bands. And like, I want to be really upfront with you about this. These are basically just ways to connect to the Disney app as a parent. So you could like give your kids access to like go onto a ride and like sign in with their watch, basically. Like you could pay with things too. So you could turn on or turn off that functionality, because if you don't want your kid getting like, you know, twin lobsters, then maybe you shouldn't do that. But they're basically, So they're basically a way for you to have to put your wallet away and just like whatever. But I will say, like, they sell upgraded, fancier, really expensive ones. All I do is turn a couple lights on. For us, we were like, nah, we're good. We just bought the more simplistic ones, because if the battery runs out in those, you might have a major problem booking rides. So the traditional, cheaper deal Magic Bands, I think they were maybe $25 each. It wasn't so terrible. We used those. Everybody had one, and then those were like when you would get to the ride. Like the first day you get there, you'd have to like use your thumbprint for your children's safety and everything else, your fingerprint, just to kind of ensure that you're the adult and you have, you know, you're related to the kids and everything else. And then that would go with your ticket and the app and everything else. Once you were done with that and you use your Magic Band to kind of like connect everything, then you, for the every other day that you stay there, you could just use your Magic Band to like get onto the ride quickly. Like you walk up to it, you bring your wrist to it, it turns green, you're in, you're good to go. So like it was helpful just from like that panicky standpoint of like, I'm not taking out my tickets right now. I'm not going to start showing my phone. It's just like, you have it on your wrist, use the thing and move on with your lives, because your phone is going to drain battery too. Like get those battery packs. Cause like, man, poof.
Yeah. And you know, some people, they like, you can get the upgraded ones like Mike was saying, but you don't need to, you know, but they do have like character specific ones like Star Wars and Disney princesses and stuff. And then as you go further into the yeah. And here's where it gets more dangerous. They have like add-ons and attachments to them that you can, you know, and it's just you fall down the rabbit hole. Dangerous.
You know what I heard that was a really cool idea? This is like a little bit related, but maybe out of orbit, is like sometimes like kids want to like, this is silly, of course kids want to buy stuff, but like maybe they know that they're going to go to Disney and they know they're going to like buy something, and maybe that's a Magic Band, maybe that's like a t-shirt or a stuffed animal, whatever it is. What some people decide to do if they know they're going, and it's not a surprise for the kids, or maybe the kids know it or whatever, is like maybe for like the holidays, for like Christmas or Hanukkah or birthday, whatever, is instead of giving them like just all their gifts, you could have like a family member or you could give them like a gift card for your future trip to Disney. And then like, that's going to be some money that they're going to hold on to. And then when they get to the parks, then they could have that as like, and it's cool because they know that they have some money that's theirs and they could choose a gift that they can't afford.
Ooh,
that,
I love that.
That is a great idea.
That's a very nice
I can't take credit for it. It wasn't an idea, but it's a cool idea, right?
You know, and it's just because like, you know, birthday gifts are always like, you know, they have a bunch of things or whatever, but experiences like that are better. Like give the gift of money to have an experience, you know?
So something else that's kind of they should know too about that app. It's confusing because of the language. On a few rides, like really sought after rides. There's like Tron is one, and like the Disney, the Seven Dwarfs is one. And I think there's like a few other ones, like maybe it's the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. We're gonna go into much more details of those rides like next episode, but just know that in your app somewhere you may come across something called like Lightning Plus or individual Lightning lanes. Those are separate from all of this. So like certain rides will not show up in your Genie Plus experience. There's very few of them that are this way, so don't be like, well, why did I just buy this thing? Very in each park, maybe there's one, maybe. And those are very sought after rides, like Guardians of the Galaxy or something. Those are ones that if you want to get on that ride, they charge you to get a spot. And they only show up twice a day. So it's like 7 a.m. and like 1 p.m. or something like that. You have to look. But then that's like a chance for you to go on these like sought after rides if you want to do that. And like, for example, like Galaxy's Edge is one that we'll talk about next week. That's one of the rides that if you wanted to get on it and know that you could get on it at 7 a.m. if you could get a spot, or 1 p.m. you get a spot, and that's your only day going, you may say to yourself, it was worth it to spend the money to do that. Or like maybe it would have been smart to just move it and like do your NASCAR, weave in and out of people and get to that ride first thing, and maybe you get on the ride. But like for us, that was a ride that we knew that would break down sometimes. They talk about that, and for us, we knew we want to do it. So for us, it was like, we're gonna only do this like once. We're gonna spend the money on this one to book our seat. So just know that that's called individual Lightning lane, I think, something like that. That's called individual Lightning thing, whatever. So just know that that's on there. That's separate. But most of the experiences are not like an additional fee. But that was just something random that I thought of. I didn't want to be too confusing with this stuff because it can be. Let us see. Sarah, how does that sound so far? Are we like totally like confusing you? Is this good so far?
It sounds good. So what I'm thinking or what I'm hearing is that like I really need to kind of research the rides I need and like what kind of reservations I need to make.
Yeah.
So like help me.
Does
out.
that maybe it would be smart to talk about food because maybe food is something that's part of a reservation?
Yeah, all of the reservation stuff because like we have to eat like as much
Yeah.
as we're roaming around stuff like that like we gotta eat, we gotta get sustenance in our
Listen,
bodies.
some of the food there is kind of fun. I'm telling you. So I will say, like, I am like a street meat kind of dude. I want to eat like the fun stuff. I want to eat like I want to try stuff. I want to like sample. I don't need like a sit down big fancy schmancy, you know. So like for us, like we really enjoyed like the quick service stuff, like the fast stuff, and like we happened to go in the summer. Like Mike was warning me, like you know the desert. Well, this is worse than that. So we went and like during the summer in Epcot, they do this like food festival. I don't know what they call it. I mean, it's called a food festival because what they do is they add like extra food. Like little food stands where you could try more food and more food options from different countries and stuff. So for us, we were super excited about that because like that's what we wanted to eat. I don't want to sit in a restaurant. I want to eat like all that. I want to try one of those and share it with my kids and like eat more stuff and feel full and then eat dinner. So like that was kind of what we wanted to do. So like some of the quick service stuff is more fun because like it's like a little bit cheaper and then like you kind of like pick what you want. And then like we said before, like with the Disney app, like you don't need to have like the reservations to eat at one of these things. You could just like on your phone be like, okay, we're sitting in this location now. We'll probably be off the ride in about like half an hour or so. Why don't we start thinking about what we could eat? We could order it on the phone now and then it'll be ready for us like at a specific time when we want to pick it up. Like that's kind of cool that you could do that. But like you were talking about reservations, you can get a reservation, but just know, like Mike was telling me this, it freaked me out. Like you people, what is it, Mike, 6 months out, people could get a reservation?
Yeah, like, and that was our thing. We looked for places that you had to make these reservations for that were like the top end places, like Be Our Guest, like the Be Our Guest in Disney World. Like that's where you eat with in the Beauty and the Beast kind of like castle. And when we went back, you know, a couple of years ago, a few years ago, it was like a cool, like kind of a low budget kind of place. And they actually changed it when we went, and it was more of like a fine dining, which we didn't know. So we were kind of, so it's definitely be careful, check the menu because we were looking for sandwiches like it always was. And we didn't check the menu because we had gone a lot and we thought it was the same thing, but they actually, you know, changed it around and it's more of a fine dining place. And another place that we tried to get into was in Galaxy's Edge was the Cantina, which you actually have to book 6 months out in advance. Like that's how popular it was, you know, because I know Star Wars Galaxy's Edge had kind of just come out recently. So, you know, when it comes to reservations, you know, look for the places you want to eat and make sure that you don't have to book out, you know, far in advance, you know.
That's good to know because Julian loves Star Wars, so like he would definitely want to eat there. So like that's good to know.
Like so, for example, like don't be freaked out if like you didn't do that because we were like we felt like we are so messed up now because we didn't do that and now we're like a month before and there's no reservations. So here's the thing: is that all the damage is not done. So what happens is, like Mike was they were smart. They got the reservation they wanted. They want something specific. That's awesome. We wish we did that, but we didn't because we weren't sure what we were going. There's a whole thing with like a medical thing with Jacob that we were like, we didn't really know where we were going and whatever. So what ends up happening is people will typically book multiple places because they're just not sure what they're gonna do. Maybe they decide that like they want to book it and it sounds good, then like we don't have time for this, or maybe they're like, you know what, let's not do that thing this day. Whatever it is, I don't need to come with all the reasons why somebody would cancel a reservation. So what happens is you have to cancel a reservation within 2 hours of eating. So what happens is if you get a little thrifty with it, you grab your phone as you're waiting in line maybe for a ride, and then like maybe you're like, you know what, my kids are hot, they're getting kind of crazy. It would be cool for us to just like go inside, sit in air conditioning and have a wait staff. And like, this might be a good day for it. And you look at your phone and people sometimes will cancel things and like things will show up and you'll look at your phone and people might cancel something for like 2 days from now because like maybe like all of a sudden they decide they're going to a park a different day, whatever it is. And then like you could book it then. So as long as you remember to cancel that reservation 2 hours before, you're kind of fine. Otherwise they charge you $50. You gotta be careful. But like we ended up, we were like in a situation, we were looking at our phone and we weren't planning on doing a character dining thing and in one of the parks. So we were like, that's a lot of money. We don't do it. And then for whatever reason, we got like into things. We were like, it would be really cool for our kids to like see the characters and like get like a real good meal and like sit down and see. What's that stuff called again? Vegetables. So we decided we were gonna like sit down and do that. So one night in Epcot, we did that, and we were happy we did that. And the reservation we were just looking at our phone to see like what was available, and then it happened to be that one was one that was available, and we didn't know if we would like it. We looked at the menu like good enough, and we did it, and we were happy with it. So like
That sounds awesome.
the damage is not done. Don't worry. Like yes, you are probably not gonna get into like the most sought after awesome places, but even in like with Star Wars, I was there, and we got there like in the morning. And like the cantina and stuff, like some of them, like you could jump on like a quick wait list, and they let it happen. And if you just kind of just stay in the area, but we decided to cancel because we were kind of moving around doing stuff. But like we could have gone in and gotten like a quick drink and hung out a little bit. So I don't know if we could have sat down and like done the whole food thing, but we could have had the experience of like going inside and like sitting at the cantina.
And here's the other thing. Sometimes there's like other restaurants that don't require the reservation that's similar to the one that you need the reservation. So, like they serve the same food that they would in there that they would in the reserved place. Like for instance, in Galaxy's Edge, the
like
cantina. Yeah, there was the blue milk, and there's also another restaurant that was, similar to that one. I forgot what's the name of it. It's drawing a blank on me. But
I remember that. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like we thought that was a cantina, and then we didn't realize it. And
yes. So
Is
you
it
just gotta
like
look around.
comparable, like the cantina experience?
I mean, the canteen experience is like this, like you're in the movie. So if you really want that experience, like you want that. Like, the one with like the guy, like Obi-Wan cuts the guy's arm off and all that. Like that's the place.
Yeah.
Little band's
And
playing.
then the other one, like
The other one's like kind of
place.
like a cafeteria lunch hall.
Ooh, cafeteria
okay,
for a
good to
stormtrooper.
know.
Woohoo.
So you're getting the food, but not necessarily the experience.
The
Yeah.
experience, correct?
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
So something if you wanted to like, because I know my kids they get hangry. I get hangry. It's kind of what we do. It's our family. So one of the things that was really good is this was another like sort of like helpful thing because our friends from Taekwondo went and they were like. This guy Mike like, dude, get the popcorn bucket. I'm like, what? He's like, get the popcorn bucket. You buy the one time you buy like the Disney themed little silly popcorn bucket with a handle, and then you put that thing on your stroller. We forgot it one day. We were like, oh man, but you refill it. It's not that much. It's like movie theater popcorn, and you could like there's all these stands. It smells great. It's not that expensive. It's like the perfect thing. You just keep refilling it, and it will get you through. A little salt. You need that. A little it's good stuff. And then you have you bring water bottles in, and then you bring like maybe like those like liquid IVs or Gatorade like little fill up little things. And then the quick service places, when it's like 95-degree weather, thank goodness for them, because the same places we're talking about, you could go up to them. You don't even need to wait in line. Like if you're just patient and polite, you could ask them for cold water, and they'll give you ice too. So like you're constantly, it's not like you're going to sitting there like and just pass out, because you have the opportunity to like get water and fill your water bottles and get ice. And that makes it so much more appealing, because like you're not feeling totally
Can you
like
bring your own container? Your own like little okay, cool.
So we had like
to
the
kind
kids
of
had
like
those.
keep it cold too.
Yeah, the kids had those, and then like we would bring like my wife is amazing. She had like a Ziploc bag where she had like the drink mix thingies, and then she had like granola bars and random stuff like that. But then like a couple times we look at the kids and they would look like they're like their whole bodies are drooping. We're like, okay, get them a Gatorade packet. Let's get them some water, and then
Exactly.
And what are those things called? Those towel looking things that you get wet, you put them on your neck. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
They like cool your body down.
Runners use those things.
Yeah, well, I only run if someone's chasing me, but those things are good, right?
I don't have runners either. Yeah.
But you could bring stuff into the park, so
actually,
it's good that way.
they're like cooling towels, right? Like aren't they like cooling towels? And then there's some people that have like the little fans that go around your neck too. That kind of helps out too.
For us, maybe this is the time of the year. Those just blew hot air at us. We wanted them to work, but like after using it for 10 minutes, I'm like, no. For the stroller, it's good though, because like those strollers that have the top part, I feel like they just bake in there. So if you get like the little fanny thing you clip onto the side of the stroller, those were really good. I think that was actually probably a necessary evil for that.
You know what's funny is like our strollers looked like the Millennium Falcon. It had all these little bells and whistles on it. You know, just that you needed to like these were all attachments that were added to it. You know what I mean?
She's
it wasn't
a fast
just
stroller.
the stroller.
She's the stroller that made the Kessler run in less than 12 parsecs.
Let me tell you something. She doesn't look like much on the outside, but she's got it where it counts on the inside.
Is this a part of the episode where Sarah's like, could you stop quoting Star Wars and move on?
No, I love it. I love it. So like, okay, so we're walking all day. My muscles are sore. Height. What do you got to offer? Like,
Oh, good. Nice segue. I like that. You know what a good segue is? When you acknowledge, when you say the word segue and then you ruin it. I'm sorry. So one of the things so besides like, especially if you got like a young kid, please bring a change of clothes. We had an experience. It was beneficial to have it. Baby wipes are great because doesn't matter how old you are, sweaty, dirty kids and ice pops and everything else, a couple packages of baby wipes go a long way. Hats, obviously important, but the thing that Sarah is referring to, obviously with suntan lotion, maybe the little tubey thing, is we found, I don't know if this is like totally relevant, but when my son Jacob was going through his black belt test, they said like take like an Epsom salt bath, like because he did this physical thing and the kids were exhausted and traveling the next day, and it helps with their muscles rebuild. So they do sell this Epsom salt gel. It's just like a clear ointment that you kind of rub on your legs and your feet at the end of the day. And I think it brought my kids back to life a little bit. Like that was definitely something that they sell it like everywhere, like Amazon, Target, whatever. And Epsom, whatever version of Epsom salt gel there is, get one tube of that bad boy and get that. Maybe you get it delivered when you're there, or maybe you could bring like unopened things like that into your suitcase, whatever it is. But like that was helpful because that felt like at night, that was our routine. We get to the hotel, everyone takes a shower, put on the gel, get in your PJs, we watch a movie together. And like, that was like, you felt like your legs were going to fall apart and your feet like that night. And it just felt like they kind of brought your feet back to life for the next day.
Yeah, because I mean you're walking.
Yeah.
But you're walking like more than you normally do. So like I think
definitely.
that's like a really smart idea. I have to say it, like, you know. And then like, oh my God, so I know both of you had like you did some like special stuff or whatever for Disney, like, and I see a lot of stuff like on Instagram and TikTok. Like, what did you guys do to make it like, a little extra?
I think like one of the things you're probably referring to are like maybe like the t-shirt thing. So like some people, what they'll do is like they'll like go online and they'll find like a unique color or like a fun design, or maybe get like custom made shirts where like they'll put like the family name on there. We were like apprehensive of putting our names of people on there because we were like, sometimes like there's weird people out there and we're like, if they say names of kids, we don't know who they are. That could be kind of like stranger danger. But what we decided to do is we made like custom shirts for each of the days we were in the parks. So we went to like Michael's and we got like the same color, and then use a Cricut. I quickly learned how to use that, and then we made like fun shirts for the kids to use. And what was really cool is Jacob and I went, and we didn't know this, but Cricut makes glow in the dark white vinyl. So like what was really fun was cool. We put like hidden messages and things on the shirts so that like when the sun went down towards the last 20 minutes of being there, because it was so late in the summer, when the sun went down or inside of a ride, when it was dark, the shirts would glow, and it was so cool. So like, you know,
that's so cute.
Yeah. So like we wanted, I didn't do this one for all of them, but like I did, like I wanted to have like the little, like a sandwich on the back of the Frozen shirt. I thought it would be kind of fun. So like the sandwich would be glowing because like, you know, we share each other sandwiches. And then we would have like the word like Accio lights, I think, or something like that, or whatever the word is for lights in Harry Potter spell. Like we had that in white, and then that glowed in the Harry Potter park. And then we did a couple things like that. And then we had like Olaf was glowing on one shirt. So it was just fun to do that. But like in general, like it was so cool to like put on the shirts, and everybody like would be decked out in the beginning of the day, and everyone would have the shirts. Some people will like print them on like a laser printer or like an inkjet printer, and then they could like iron them on. But like, or you could just go online and pick a color. Like it doesn't have to be expensive or fancy. It was just fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
We did we did the same thing.
Oh, I love it.
Did you guys do the mouse ears?
Cute.
No, we didn't do the mouse ears with the family, but when Taylor and I were younger, we did the mouse ears, like, cause we were like engaged. So
because you're too mature now? Is that what,
yeah. We're too cool now for the mouse ears.
Let me show you some Star Wars themed mouse ears, okay, buddy? So I will say, like, those are, like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like they sell like, there's like headband ones or like ribbon ones that go around your head, but like, there's like different themed ones. They've blown up. So like now there's like mouse ears that have like Thanos designs and like Infinity Stones and like so like I didn't get it for me, but we got like the kids, my wife, we got like fun ones that they could wear like for different parks and different days. And it was fun, people get excited wearing those things,
I was
kind of mouse ears.
Yeah, my mouse ears was that wide brim hat. I never let go of that wide brim hat, because because that thing protected my head from the sun. Oh, it was lovely. I loved it. I don't wear wide brim hats a lot, so like it was my excuse to wear it. You know
what though, dude? Seriously, like I think my hair was like all like gelled out and spiky for like the first hour, and then like the baseball hat went on like the rest of the day because like the hair was flat, it was sweaty, we had to block the heat so it wouldn't like burn my head, so that was good. But something that I think was also really cool in the back of your mind, like there's like quick things just to bring up. One is if it's a first time going or it's close to someone's birthday or an anniversary, at any like most of the stalls where like you could buy stuff, the Disney people have these buttons that like you could ask for, and you say, "Oh, it's my kid's first time here," like, and you get the kids like be a little independent, like, why don't you ask them? And they give you buttons. It's like first time Disney visitor or like first time like celebrating a birthday, anniversary, and they have these little buttons you can wear, and it's like even more exciting. And then they also have it's fun, right? And then also they have total side note, we always use AirTags, the Apple AirTags. There's a lot of different versions of like security stuff. We would always throw those in our kids too to make us feel a little safer with stuff. But in general, one of the things that we thought, like, we didn't want to have the responsibility of taking pictures everywhere, because it was like, what if we're just like tired, we don't want to do it, or like the phones die. So we just decided like ahead of time we'd pay for this photo pass thing. Like if you pay for it the day you're there, it's more expensive, but if you book it ahead of time, what it basically does is like you could there's people that work there that their only thing that they do all day long is take pictures. So like you could get in these, they show them on the map, and then there's these different places where like you could just stand in line, they'll take a picture, like iconic things like in front of the castle, in front of a ride, in front of an area. And then what's fun is like some of the places what they do, I mean, it's a little cornball, but it's kind of fun. They'll like tell you like, oh, we have a special thing in this location. So like, hey, like the youngest one, why don't you come over here and hold your hands, like cup your hands like this, and everyone look at his hands and act surprised, or everyone hug each other and act like you're cold, or like, and then what they would do, they would superimpose a character or an animal or like a thing into the picture, which is like kind of cheesy, but it's kind of fun. And then there were like a couple ones that I don't remember what they called them, but there was like one where like the photographer would take your picture, and then like you could download like a mini movie or an app, whatever, like in the app, whatever it is, where like it would like zoom out of where you were to show a humongous zoomed out location of like the scene of wherever you are. And there were like a few locations in the parks for that. And then I think one thing maybe we should just briefly talk about, because we're going to wrap it up soon.
Yeah, with the photo thing, they just know how, like, you give like your band or something like that, like how they know who you are.
Yeah, so you show up, they take the picture, and when you're done, you hold up your band to the person. They scan it on their little phony thing. And then also on the rides, like when you take a ride and like they always take pictures of you like going down a roller coaster or whatever else it is, that's like included. So like when you're done with the ride, you look on the wall and all the pictures are there, and then you just hold I think you either like you on your app, you just type in like the number that's on the screen, or you hold your watch up to that number, and then it's part of your like album, and then you have it.
Very cool. How organized are they?
And then it's really cool. And then the one thing that I don't remember, I know what it was. It was that, because we're going to have to talk about this when we talk about more specifics. Just know that every single one of these parks does have like a nighttime really cool thing. And they're all a bit different. Like one of them might be like a fireworks show, like the famous Disney Castle. Another one might be like a Fantasia themed, like whole like interactive lights and movies and pyrotechnics and stuff. So like each park has a thing. So like you will probably be surprised on like how you can rally. So like we'll talk about that next episode, but like just know that like those things, it's not just the parade thing. There are actual like quote unquote events that happen like at night. So if you could muster the energy, I would say like try for it, because it's so cool. Your kids will remember that part of it just as much as they remember some of this stuff. And the last night when we were in Disney, we were like the last night of the parks, we went to the Magic Kingdom, and we were as a family just watching like the Magic Kingdom with the fireworks. We were all like teary eyed because we're like, it's over, man, it's over. And it was just nice to be all together, for that. So it was really cool. But Sarah, now I have to ask you the question, like,
Okay.
We're halfway through part 1 and part 2. How are you feeling?
Oh, she's like, no.
No. I'm,
Sarah's like, I'm going to throw up in a bag. And
no. Our initial conversation that we had, like privately or whatever, I felt so anxious. And now that we kind of like broke it down, we thought about it a little bit more, I feel a little better about this. Like, cause like in, you know, like where we work, people talk about it and they're like, oh, you got to do this. You got to get that. And I'm like, wow, that sounds like a pain in the neck.
And that's like stress inducing, isn't it?
And
Like
then,
it
like
feels
when
like
you two guys were kind of talking about it, like, you know, before this podcast, it just felt like I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm capable of this. And then I have to say, I feel a little more relieved now. I feel like I know what the app does. I feel like there's some nice ways to save money here and there. Cause I know, like with Disney, like Mike Levine said, like it's not for you, it's for the kids. But at the same time, we have adult responsibilities. So
Yes.
like it might be nice to be swiping and banding and all that stuff. But like little hacks to like learn how to save some money here and there feels good. So
Yeah.
I
Just
feel,
do your
I
research.
Feel a little better. Yeah, me too.
I feel good about it. I feel better about it, like honestly, because like Mike Levine got me in a much better place, you know. So like, I think like as a person who feels like they like could be very overwhelming with this kind of stuff, especially like multi-day stuff, when I feel like I don't have a total grasp on it. Like I know this isn't like an infomercial, but I will tell you that like you're never gonna feel really comfortable and great until you get there and you start to like play around. But I will say like the enjoyment factor of it, especially if you plan on going for more than one day, like you'll start to like get a little more into it. Your stress level will drop. You'll get to like get more of a sense of where things are and how things work, even if you're going for a different park each day. But I loved it. I had a lot of fun, and I hope that this has been somewhat helpful for people listening at home. And like, if you kind of like this, and then next episode we're going to talk more specifics about the rides and food and stuff.
Oh yeah,
because I love me some food. Then I think that will be kind of helpful. So so this is the episode. So we're kind of out of time. The question this week is like, what makes you nervous about going to Disney, or maybe like what fears do you have? How do you get over them? Like when you went, and like, you know, what did you do that helped you out? If you want to help us by answering the question and give us some more feedback and understanding, you can do so one of 3 ways. One way is you can go to our Hey There Parents voicemail line. Don't worry, we won't pick up. It's a message. 559-LAY-KIDS or 559-537-5437. 2, you can email us at heytheparents@gmail.com. You can also join us on Instagram or Blue Sky at Hey The Parents. So I think that is going to do it for our first episode of 2 for our Disney, our overview, our de-stressing, our boot camp, our what is happening over there. We think that we have done our somewhat of due diligence in giving you some insight into what it is like to go to Disney. So to take a moment to thank our listeners, supporters for donating to the show. If you want to help support the show so we can make episodes like this one, we have a link in the show notes to how to do so. If you don't have the means to do so, we would always appreciate if you tell other parents or friends and family about their podcast. We can reach more listeners. And if you have time, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We cannot wait to explore this parenting thing again with you next week in Hey the Parents, because it's the 3 of us and all of you. Don't forget to hug your kids and charge those Chromebooks. That's new from me. For Mike and for Sarah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey the Parents is produced by Mike Levine, Sarah Desreens, and me, Michael Haidt. I edit and mix our show. Our intro voice recording was done by the one and only Coltrane. If you like our show, we hope you'll consider going to the show notes and support the podcast. Find us online at Instagram or Blue Sky at Hey the Parents, or send us an email at heytheparents@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.